man. What is your worst caught my wife cheating story? Story 1. Dating this girl a few years back, and I became really good friends with her brother just because he appreciated my help during a difficult time for their family. Their father had abruptly passed away. 2 years into the relationship, the brother contacts me and asks to meet up for coffee in a serious conversation. Apparently, he caught his own sister with another guy, a mutual friend of ours, and this has been going for like a year. As soon as he found out, I was told, broke up with her. Still friends with her brother. Go figure. Opinion. I'm all for exposing cheaters. In my country, there's a saying, the one who's been cheated on is the last to know. Not on my watch though, I'll be the first to expose that. Story 2. Came back from a trip 4 hours early. The wife was supposed to be at work still. Opened the front door to see her sitting topless on the couch, making out with a coworker. He ran out the door, she ran into the bathroom and locked the door. Sat on that couch for about an hour because I couldn't think of what else to do. Finally, just got up and left, so she could come out of the bathroom and put a shirt on. Opinion. True love is hard to find. I hope you divorced her. Story 3. Had been on the road for work. Was supposed to be 10 days. Got to go home a day early. Had a friend pick me up at the airport to surprise my wife and 2 children. 2 years and 8 months. Walked into my ex and her coffee friend snuggling on the couch, with my kids in the same room. I was livid. Of course, she denied everything. We split up weeks later. Opinion. Oh man, I hope you got sole custody of the kids. That's so sad. Story 4. 2 weeks ago, I sent a message to a mutual friend asking to borrow a router. He didn't answer, but no worries. He lives nearby. I'll just stop by and grab it. I pull up to his house and start heading down the driveway. He has a long country driveway, so it's a few seconds before I see my car. I drive a company vehicle during the day. Already there. My heart began to sink, but they're friends and business partners, so maybe it's nothing. I got out of my van and looked up to see the other guy shirtless in his bedroom. At this point, my heart is down on my stomach, and I am visibly shaking. I go in and immediately head upstairs. He is alone, now clothed. I say, I came to borrow the router. Also, have you seen my wife? The car is here. He then proceeds to give the worst improv I've ever heard. Huh? No, she was here at some point though. Whatever. I knew she was there. I just wanted him to admit it. I go down, take the router, and head back to the van where I finally encounter my wife topless trying to sneak around the side of his house. And now here I am. Opinion. At least you got a free router. And it's better to find out sooner than later. Story 5. Not me, my dad. He told me this story a few years back. So some of my mom's family were visiting from out of town, and they had planned a night at the bingo, which my dad couldn't attend because he was working 6 to 2 a.m. He finished work early, and on his way home saw my babysitter on the street. You're not with my son? She said, no, your wife called me at around 8 p.m. saying she wasn't feeling well and that she would stay home. My dad drove home and tried the front door. Locked, no lights. He entered the house by the basement door, went up the stairs, heard them, a few feet away. My mom and her cousin. 2 years later, he almost left her, with me in tow, but stayed so I could have a normal life. Most of the time I wish he had left, because he wouldn't have worked 90 to 100 hours a week to avoid being home, and could have been happier. For those who are wondering, my mom had a long-time affair with her cousin, starting before she met my dad. She wasn't happy either, I think. But my dad was a good catch. Yes, I'm sure he is my dad. We look so much the same. Yes, they're still together. And after a year of being angry, I decided to let go because the relationship has nothing to do with me. Just sad for both of them. Opinion. I'd probably get a paternity test. I wouldn't leave that to chance. Story 6. Her phone got a text from her friend who was in the kitchen with her, so I assumed one of them sent it to me. Opened her phone and saw a D. Her friend doesn't have a D. Now I'm divorced and I don't trust texts from friends. Opinion. I would have sent back a picture of mine. Story 7. I caught my ex thanks to Pokemon Go of all things. She mentioned Pokemon Go was using lots of her data. I explained that in her settings she could see how much data an app was using. I proceeded to show her and proved to her it wasn't by pointing out Tinder was using much more data. It was sad but also funny the way it went down. I've posted this before, but it's still funny to remember. Opinion. I feel bad for laughing at this, but it's pretty funny. I hope things are better for you now. Story 8. Found my wife's notebook. Written on the first page was a 10-step plan detailing how she was going to leave me for another guy. I turned it into one step. Opinion. Turned it into one step. Is a sick line though. Story 9. One night she told me not to come over because she wasn't feeling well. But then my sister wanted this hoodie back that she'd borrowed. So I thought I would stop over with chocolate and Slurpee. I knocked on her door. She came to the upstairs window with only a blanket wrapped around her. I thought I told you not to come over. My sister needs her hoodie. Who's that? Says some male voice from her bedroom. Ah, I see how it is. I'll talk to you tomorrow, she says. Probably not. Have a good one. Opinion. Jesus. By the sound of this, she treated you like trash and brushed you off like nothing. Story 10. After a week of visiting friends in London, England, I flew back to Canada. I was supposed to do something with another group of friends when I got back, but plans fell through. So I drove the 4 hours home to the apartment we shared. She expected me home at 6 p.m. I had been up for 30 hours straight and got home at 6 a.m., wanting nothing more than to fall into bed. There was an extra set of feet attached to some a-hole when I walked in. Opinion. And the amount of self-restraint he must have taken to not paint those sheets red must have been unbelievable. Story 11. Not me, but one of my best mates and his girlfriend snuck a guy into their one-bedroom apartment while he was playing Xbox in the living room. I heard the argument through the mic after he heard a noise coming from the bedroom. He kicked her out and continued playing with us. Edit. Oh my god, so many likes. To the people saying my buddy deserved it because he's addicted to video games. I don't know where you got that from. He only plays when there's a bit of spare time. She is just a bad person. After he caught them in the act and kicked her out, he came back onto the mic to tell us what happened and to get off the game. We encouraged him to stay on and talk everything through with us. We were in different countries at the time and couldn't see him in person because we were worried. The relationship had been a little rocky, but who would guess that someone would cheat, and especially in the next room? He is a great guy who did not deserve that to happen to him. He is now in a healthy relationship with a wonderful lady. Opinion. You gotta admire the boldness of even thinking that such a thing could even be executed. She was either bold or not very bright. Story 12. My first long-term girlfriend and I were going to go to the same college. I got accepted but had to start the semester after she did, meaning we would be slightly long distance for a few months. It wasn't too bad because we were only 2 hours apart, so it was pretty easy to visit. But our relationship did struggle a bit. I remember one night I got a phone call from her, and when I picked it up, it was obvious she wanted to have some bedroom fun and was calling me to come over. I could hear her talking to some guy, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. I called her and she picked up and I asked, "What was up?" She said she was in bed and about to go to sleep. I told her about the call and she said it was her friend Jack, who I met asking to borrow something. I thought it was odd but brushed it off. A couple of weeks later, I was up there visiting her, and I met a bunch of cool people, including this guy, Luke. After I got back from visiting, I got a Facebook message from him saying, "Look man, I hate to be the one to say this, but I think you're an awesome guy and you don't deserve this to be happening to you. She's been cheating on you with this guy pretty soon after she started here." I was devastated, but I had to hear it from her. So I called her and said, "Are you cheating on me?" She gave a heavy sigh and said, Well, at least I don't have to lie anymore. That guy's voice I had heard wasn't Jack. It was the guy she was cheating on me with. I just trusted her so much that I took her word for it. Even though it was painful, I was grateful for Luke sending me that message. What's funny is that most of the people I met up there who were her friends sided with me after the breakup. So when I started going there the next semester, I had a group of friends to support me, and most of them are still very close friends of mine to this day. Opinion: Luke is a legend. Story 13. A friend of mine literally walked in on his wife and another guy doing it on their sofa. I guess he just yelled, "What the?" and ran off. Facebook was a real mess for a few days, and she even had the gall to blame him back. The old "it's your fault I cheated." Luckily, there were no children in that marriage and not much money to fight over. Opinion: I've heard the excuse before. It's usually something like, "You don't pay enough attention to me." So I had to find someone who would love me. Absolute lack of accountability. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell button to receive notifications to my latest videos.